What's going on, guys? Fun with Knives back again, and I have an interesting review for you today because we're looking at a blade that pretty much everyone in the knife world knows about or owns. This is the Schrade SCHF52M. It's part of their Frontier series of knives, and this thing has a ton of coverage all over the internet, all over YouTube, and it's pretty widely accepted as one of the best larger budget outdoor knives. Now, a little disclaimer here, guys. I am not a bushcrafter by any means. I don't know anything about survival, even though I'm very interested in hiking and camping and all that kind of stuff. I'm not going to pretend like I'm an expert here at all. In fact, we're going to do this review a little bit differently. I'm just going to tell you about my experience with the knife. Of course, we'll run over the specs real quick, but I'm not going to touch on every little thing because I'm sure you guys have already seen all the reviews. I mean, there's so much on this that'll tell you how I've been carrying it, what my experience was, and, wrap up with some final conclusions here. So, specs on this guy. You got a 7-inch blade length. Your cutting edge, though, is only going to be 6 1/4 inches. I said only. It's a huge knife. Handle length is going to be 5 inches, making your overall length 13 inches. Your weight on this one is 1 pound and 1.76 ounces. So it's just a huge knife, guys. It's a big fixed blade. Not that I have a ton of experience, but this is coming from 0.23 inch blade stock, so a little bit under 1/4 of an inch. So super thick. It's going to be very good at batoning, and I can definitely say that from experience. Your handle thickness is stocky at 0.83, but it feels great in hand. Just the shape of the handle is just fit perfectly to how a human hand is going to use it. Now, everybody knows Schrade is pretty good at providing value priced or budget fixed blade options for those who don't want to spend $100, $200 on a decent fixed blade, and that's what interested me so much in this knife. I got this quite a while ago, and as you can see, it has some very heavy use on it. In fact, this is probably my most hard used blade, definitely because it can withstand it. Now, the Schrade Frontier line has a whole bunch of different options in size and handle materials, from micarta to TPE and different blade shapes and all sorts of different things. I wanted to go with this one because, first of all, it was one of the bigger ones and it has micarta, and I do like micarta quite a bit. So what you get on this knife is 1095, and 1095 is widely regarded as a very good carbon steel for bigger chopper blades, as this would be classified as. It's very tough, it's very resilient, even though it's fairly rust prone. I mean, you just gotta maintain it and you'll be fine. But it is a very good carbon steel, and I have it on tons of fixed blades, and Schrade did a decent job with this. The problem that I had with it is that this is hollow ground here, starting from about midway. You got a mid hollow grind, obviously coming from that very thick blade stock. That comes down to a very keen edge. It's very weak behind the edge. And that's very good to see on a pocket knife that you want to be a good slicer. But here you can see this chipped out on me quite a bit. I mean, there's chips all the way along the blade. And I purposely didn't sharpen those out and didn't fix it because I wanted to show you guys how this knife wears as you use it. And now I don't know if that's just mine, or if the edge is a little bit too hard, the heat treat was a little bit off, or I just suspect it's ground a little bit too thin behind the edge. I think me and a lot of other people would love to see this have a saper grind or even a full flat grind, and I think it would perform decently well as a chopper and as a wood splitter as this hollow grind here. Now, the coating on it actually holds up very well, even though it looks like it doesn't. I can't stress enough to you guys that this thing has seen a lot of use. All these bare portions now are definitely from batoning. There's all sorts of scratches and things from hacking at trees and all the other testing I wanted to put this through. All these snail trails here from just abuse. I wanted to see what this thing could do. I was hammering in nails and using this thing as a one tool option, as an axe, as a shovel, as a knife, as an axe, whatever you want to say. I said axe quite a few times there. Anyway, the coating is good, and I definitely think it helps in preventing some rust. Now, you do have your forward finger choil here, if I can talk. Not something I usually use on a blade this large. I mean, if you are going to use this as some sort of one tool option, then yeah, you do want that to choke up and get some finer stuff done, like your whittling or whatever. But it's not something I use, but I'm glad it's there. The micarta on this is a little strange. You can see there's a couple of divots and stuff, just from it knocking around in the woods, of course. But it seems unfinished. It's got a very weird texture. It's very rough. And I like it in that sense because it's not going to fall out of your hand. It definitely wants to stay in there, and with gloves it definitely catches on that, but it just looks a little bit poorly done, if I can say that. I mean, the pattern school, it's a little bit chamfered off, it's a little bit boxy in hand, but the overall shape, this hook here, it's kind of got that canoe shape. It definitely holds you in when you're chopping. You can choke all the way back here. And of course, if you want to see in use testing of this knife, all you got to do is look up the name, Schrade SCHF52M, because I really don't feel like toting around my tripod and setting things up and chopping wood for a while, even though that would be probably pretty fun. You have a lanyard hole here if you want to lash it and, you know, use it as some sort of guard or safety if you drop the knife. So all in all, guys, I think this is a fantastic blade. In fact, I would recommend anything in this 1095 Schrade line. Even though my edge tripped a little bit, I can fix it. 1095 is easy to sharpen. And the price that you're getting this knife at is incredible. We're talking $40, $45 for this blade. That's 13 inches of almost a 1/4 inch 1095 in a highly capable blade that is going to do a lot of wood processing, a lot of, I don't know, batoning, you know, chopping down tree limbs, whatever you need for the fire. And then of course you can push it into some other rolls. You know, the tip on this thing is fairly useless. It's not going to penetrate at all. It's way too thick. In fact, I wouldn't even mind if they gave this a raisel shape because, you know, who cares? But one thing to note too is the sheath. It's exactly what you would expect from a knife at this price point. It's a ballistic nylon sheath with a snap instead of Velcro, which I'm very glad to see. It fits in there nice. I mean, there's not a ton of rattle. It's got a plastic insert. I do have some paracord here if I want to lashed around my leg as I carry it. And then this, of course, is your little belt loop here. That is Velcro, but it makes it easy to take off and not have to take off your whole belt. And of course, I went the survivalist route. Comes with the ferro rod and striker included, and then I just put a oh, this is the one that came with it. This is actually the diamond stone that comes with the knife, just to keep it, you know, working sharp while you're out in the field. So not that I have a ton of experience or necessarily need for a knife of this size or of this application, but it definitely is a good one. I can definitely recognize that. It will throw sparks very well. It's got the 90-degree spine. So in a lot of ways, it's exactly what people were looking for at the time when this came out, which was probably a year or two ago. And I think it's been very readily received by the knife world. So that was my experience with this thing. It is very solidly built. It is an exceptional value. Make sure to maintain that edge. If you have any chipping or rolling issues, definitely let me know. Maybe mine, I just put it through too hard of use. I don't know. I mean, the fit and finish isn't fantastic, but then again, you got to remember the price point you're paying at. You know, the micarta slabs are not perfectly aligned with the tang of this blade, and the jimping's in a very weird spot. But to be honest, guys, I'm holding it in this grip most of the time. I'm chopping very heavily, and it works very well at that. So thanks for watching, guys, as always, and remember, have fun with your knives.